if I've got someone else that's after contact lenses that they want to wear them for, and they might want to wear them full time, or they might want to wear them so they've got a chance of wearing them when they go out for lunch on a Sunday, then I fit that as well. So I think some people don't want to think about contact lenses because they don't want to give up on glasses and go to contact lenses. And the answer is
Mm,
you can have both. You know,
mm,
you don't wear the same pair of shoes all the time. You might have a
mm,
nice pair of Adidas shoes that you wear out, and you might
mm.
have a dress pair of shoes, and you might have, your day-to-day shoes as well. Why wouldn't it be that we could have glasses for day to day and we have contact lenses for going out? And if I go and do presentations at conferences, I'll often wear my contact lenses. I don't wear them all the time. I wear them like that, and I love going scuba diving with them. I love going free
Mm,
diving with them and snorkeling with them,
mm.
and I like wearing them when I'm kayaking. But I don't do that every day. I do that randomly, and most of the time I'm pretty happy in my glasses. But there are certain activities that I do that I love wearing contact lenses for.
If you wear contact lenses or you're thinking about trying them, you've probably noticed that there are many different brands and types available. Some lenses are designed for everyday comfort, some are better for people with dry eyes, others may reduce the need for glasses. So, how do you actually know which contact lenses are right for you? That's exactly what we're discussing today. I'm pleased once again to be talking with Martin Robinson, experienced optometrist and owner of Martin's Eyecare in Tasmania, where he and his team help patients to find contact lens solutions that suit their eyes, lifestyle, and comfort needs. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes, we'll talk about the most trusted contact lens brands, what wearers should consider, and some of the specialized contact lenses that many people don't realize even exist. But first, who am I? My name is Paul Salway. I'm owner of Optics Digital Marketing. We're an agency that helps independent optometrists to connect with their communities through educational videos such as this one. So, hi, Martin. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks very much, Paul. Yeah, no, it's been a big day and some interesting contact lens patients in today. So, such is the life of an independent optometrist, I think.
Usually is, isn't it?
Indeed,
Well,
indeed.
so Martin, there are like many well-known contact lens brands on the market today, but which brands do you most commonly recommend to your patients, and what makes them stand out from the competition?
I guess there are brands, but within brands or stables, there are gems, and the gems are what I like to prescribe. And for example, there's a whole heap of lenses that Alcon provide, and I sell a lot of them. But there are
Mm,
some lenses from Alcon that I sell the vast, vast majority of. So, and the ones that I love the most from Alcon are two lenses in particular at the moment. One is the Dailies Total One range, and the
mm,
Dailies Total One uses special water gradient technology, which is how they treat the outside of the contact lens to make it water loving and very high water percentage, which means your tears only have to wet the surface of the Dailies Total One lens, not the whole lens, because the internal lens is separate and kept at a stable water level. So most contact lenses suck your tears dry. They
mm.
take moisture that they need to keep hydrated from your tear film. Whereas all you've got to do for the Dailies Total One lens is wet the surface of the lens. And that's amazing. The second one that I really love from them is a product called Total 30, which is instead of a daily single-use contact lens, and the daily single-use ones are in spheres and in torics for astigmatism, and they're in multifocals. But the Total 30 one is for 30 days, so it's a monthly lens. And they make them in spheres and torics and multifocals with the same mechanical designs, which means if I have someone in a Dailies Total 1 lens that's perfectly fitted, I can swap them into a Dailies Total 30 and have a pretty good sideways swap. So the same lens will sit the same way, the same prescription should apply. It's pretty easy to do those trials. And then if you go to someone like Johnson and Johnson have got some amazing new generation lenses. One of them is a myopia control contact lens called Ability. And Ability is a slightly sharper or tighter curve, which fits kids better. And they're the ones that we're trying to get into these myopia control contact lenses. It's also got this diffractive ring technology, which is a little bit different to anything else on the market, which is a very powerful driver of stopping eye growth and elongation of the axial length, which is the driver of myopia progression. And they've also got this new range of Max lenses, and the Max lenses have got some interesting technology in them for dry eye, and they come in a range of different products, and they're expanding that range all the time. So again, I'm really enjoying playing with some of those lenses from J&J. And I've got a couple of lenses from Bosch and Lomb that I really like that are good solid lenses that have got some reasonably recent tech in them, but they're priced well. So again, really, 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 really nifty. And the last one with the big boys in terms of soft contact lenses would be Cooper Vision. And Cooper Vision have been the lions share of the contact lens market for a long, long time. Not all of their lenses are quite as up to date as they could be, but they've just released a new update to their myopia control contact lens with a silicon hydrogel material, which is a healthier, more oxygen pumping sort of contact lens material. And that's really amazing because they've had a lens that they've had in the market for a long, long time called MiSight, and the only problem with it is the material that it's made out of. And yet now they've solved that. So that, again, these companies have innovation and research that they apply, and it takes a while to get that to market, and not everything comes out instantaneously. And sometimes things might be available in Australia first, and then as a trial run, and then given to the rest of the world. And other times we get it after the rest of the world, so we get it a little bit later, and that happens with all companies as well.
Yeah, I'm familiar with my site contact
Mm.
lenses for myopia control. But are you saying that now that there are other brands doing similar things?
Yeah, well, the Johnson and Johnson Ability lens is a myopia control
Mm,
that's in a soft lens. There's the one that's from Cooper Vision, which has probably got the lion's share of the market. But
yeah.
and I wonder their launch of this couldn't have come because of what Johnson and Johnson were doing, but maybe
Mm,
there was part of it because this had to have been in train for a long, long time before they released it.
mm,
So it's good. So as time goes on, and there's a couple of other lenses from a couple of other smaller labs that are less well known that also do this, and
mm,
some of which are available have been available in Australia but are not marketed here currently, and
mm.
they're more available overseas. There's EDOF lenses from Mark and Boy and stuff that are out of Capricornia and things. So there's quite a few, yeah.
So when you're recommending a contact lens, let's say for adults,
Yep.
so you sounds like you take into consideration comfort, I imagine price as well. Are there any other factors like oxygen permeability? And I mean, what is that even? What does that why
Or
does that matter?
okay, so there's a few things. I've got bridges that I won't cross. So if someone wants a cheap lens that's going to be unhealthy and it's not safe for them, I won't sell it and I
Mm,
won't recommend it and I won't prescribe it.
mm,
If But in saying that, in terms of a healthy lens that pumps oxygen really well and is healthy for the eye, there's a range of products in different price things, and we'll do comparisons. So I can do one eye with one lens and a different eye with a different lens and see which one feels better, or I can do a week or 3 days of wearing a pair of lenses, and then the next week or the next 3 days we wear a different brand of contact lens and see which one of those works better. And it's surprising sometimes there's not much difference between the trials, in which case people go, well, there wasn't much difference between them, but that one's half the price or a third of the price of this one. I'll buy the cheaper one, which is great. Other times people come back and they say, wow, there was no comparison. The more I can see why these are more expensive because they're just so much better than the other brand. And in which case you're not pushing them, but
mm.
they find their own happy pathway. And sometimes it's based on price, but it's within my realm of what I think is safe and appropriate for them. And sometimes they dictate exactly what they want from comfort and from ease of use. And it's not unusual that we do those sort of trials. I do trials between two brands or three brands or three types of lenses on a regular basis.
All right. So for somebody who's never worn contact lenses
Mhm.
before, would you typically recommend daily disposable lenses, or is it not necessarily the case? Is it possible that somebody who's just new to contact lenses may go for a longer wear type of
Okay.
type of lens?
I think it's really patient determined. To give an example, I had a guy come in recently he's a game hunter, a shooter. So he
Mm,
goes away for weeks at a time and he's in the bush and he
mm, mm,
wants to wear contact lenses in that environment because it rains and he's camping and it's dirty and stuff. And for him, we went through a fitting process and fitted him with an extended wear lens. And that's one that he can leave in for 24 hours at a time and he can leave in for up to a week at a time. And we went through a fitting process with that. I don't have very many people wearing extended wear, and he doesn't wear it full time. He only wears it for these week excursions or 10-day
mm,
excursions a couple of times a year, which is in
mm.
my comfort zone of being safe to fit. So we fitted him with these lenses, and that's the only time he wears them. He wears them when he goes away, goes hunting. And whether you believe in hunting or not, it's a personal thing. But for this guy, he does. That's his hobby. That's his passion. And as such, I try to make it safer for him and more appropriate for him. So I fitted him with a special type of contact lens just for that pastime or that hobby. I've got another lady that I can think of from last year that orders a month's worth of daily disposables a year.
Mm,
And we fitted her with those in particular because she wants to wear them diving. Her
mm,
passion is she goes away to the tropics, she goes scuba diving, and she has a month holiday a year and she scuba dives every day. So we fitted her with daily disposable lenses so she could see her regulator, so she could see her watch, so she knew how
mm.
long she'd been underwater and she could manage her airflow. And she could see the fish and the coral and the anemones and everything else that she was trying to look at underwater as well. And she has no interest in wearing contact lenses for the rest of the year. It's only for that period, and that's perfect. I'm happy to do that. If I've got someone else that's after contact lenses that they want to wear them for, and they might want to wear them full time, or they might want to wear them so they've got a chance of wearing them when they go out for lunch on a Sunday, then I fit that as well. So I think some people don't want to think about contact lenses because they don't want to give up on glasses and go to contact lenses. And the answer
Mm,
is you can have both.
mm,
You don't wear the same pair of shoes all the time. You might have a
mm,
nice pair of Adidas shoes that you wear out, and you might
mm,
have a dress pair of shoes, and you might have, your day-to-day shoes as well. Why wouldn't it be that we could have glasses for day to day and we have contact lenses for going out? And if I go and do presentations at conferences, I'll often wear my contact lenses. I don't wear them all the time. I wear them like that, and I love going scuba diving with them. I love going free
mm,
diving with them and snorkeling with them, and I like wearing them when I'm kayaking. But I don't do that every day. I do that randomly, and most of the time I'm pretty happy in my glasses. But there are certain activities that I do that I love wearing contact lenses for.
mm,
So there's no reason. So one of the questions I ask people is there something is there a time that you would like to not be wearing glasses? Is there a time that you think glasses are a pain or something that make life a bit more challenging? And
mm.
what would that be? And if we could fix that with you with contact lenses, would that be something you're interested in? And sometimes people go, yeah, that'd be great. And then we go down the process of doing a fit and try and work it out. Other times people go, oh no, I could never wear contact lenses. But the answer is everyone could wear contact lenses. You've got to have a bit of motivation.
Mm.
But some people have got a phobia about their eyes and they don't want to touch their eyes with contact lenses, but that's okay too. I had a guy
Um,
in today that was fitted with contact lenses by Adam before he left, and he's still struggling getting them in. So he can wear them, he loves them, but he's having trouble. And I just said, oh, you need to come in for another training session. He said, I've had 2 training sessions. I said, sometimes you need 3, sometimes you need 5. You know, the most I've done is I think I've done a dozen training sessions for a 94-year-old lady that wanted to wear contact lenses so she could go dancing. And we eventually succeeded, and she could put her contact lenses in and out. It just took her a little bit longer to grasp the technique,
Mm,
but that was what that repetition of doing the training sessions over and over achieved.
right. So it seems like soft contact lenses are really quite popular now. But do you still prescribe RGB lenses, the so-called hard contacts, rigid gas permeable lenses? Do you get any patients who wear
Yeah,
those, and why?
absolutely. So um, I've got a range of patients that we would use an RGP lens for instead.
Mm,
And I've actually been working a little bit more with some newer technology in the last few months just because we bought the new Pentacam, which is
mm,
a corneal scanning device. And it allows a larger amount of capture of the shape of the cornea, but also the sclera or the white of the eye that surrounds the cornea. So I've been designing these large size corneal lenses for patients using a wave platform, which is a technology that's integrated
mm,
into the Pentacam.
mm,
So the second thing it can do is it can do a scleral lens, and these could be up to 18.5 mils in diameter. And the scleral lenses are designed with an
mm,
asymmetric nature. That's because it measures your sclera in 50 different parameters going around the eye. So it can make a contact lens that is customized to each part of your radius around your eye. So
mm,
it's amazing stuff. And some of the contact lenses that I'm getting are working first time from that process, which is highly unusual. And I don't expect that, and I tell patients not to expect it. Other ones, we've got to tweak them with a power, or we've got to adjust the size or the fit a little bit. But as I'm doing more and more of these, I'm getting a much higher first and second fit process as well.
mm,
But it takes time. I had someone unhappy the other day and very grumpy that it had taken me too long to do, but it takes time to design these lenses. It takes time to confer and get the right answer. And I perhaps didn't make it clear to this particular gentleman that it was going to take time, and I upset him, and I apologise for that. But I'm only one person, and I can only do so much. Um, so, but compare that to the amount of time you might have had to have doing 5 different fitting processes. Or I had a guy in recently from up north that we fitted with new lenses with, and first one was good. I did a slight tweak, and we did a second fitting, so 2 fit success. And he said the last time he had contact lenses, they had 10 tries at it, and he still wasn't happy at the end. It still wasn't great. So I think by me taking longer to design them in the first place, we get a better outcome and a faster fit success rate. So I guess it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. I take longer to start the lens or get the lens created, but then the fit it works really, really rapidly versus what we do before, which is have a go, modify a little bit, have another go, modify a little bit, and it goes on like a cycle.
So just putting scleral lenses to one side for a minute, because like this,
Mm.
specific use case for those. But
Yeah.
if we're just talking about like the regular RGB hard contact lenses,
Yes.
are you saying that each of those is custom made? Because one of the reasons I've heard for using RGBs is because they are custom made. You can get like 100% accuracy.
Yeah.
That
It's
that ex
it's
little extra accuracy than you would with an off-the-shelf soft contact lens, for example.
Absolutely. So they're more custom made, even with ordinary old school RGPs, but
Mm,
they still have limited parameters. And you might have those parameters. You might be able to do a toric back surface so it fits the
mm,
eye better. And
mm,
you might be able to tuck in the periphery of the contact lens to make it tighter where it flares, or you might be able to lift it a bit if it's too tight. There's lots of things we could do with traditional contact lenses. The newer technology does that in a freeform way. So it's
mm,
effectively a computer, a CNC cutting machine that cuts these lenses from a computer program.
mm.
So you design it in a computer, you create the lens, it gets a weird shape cut about it by using a CNC cutting machine, and then they get polished and they get delivered. So the level of individuality is off the charts, and it's a free-form lens, which people talk about spectacle lenses, some of them being free-form, which is again using that higher level computer controlled lathes and cutting machines to create them. Contact lenses are in the same realm now. And that's what I've been experimenting most with. But I do both. I do old school and I do new school. I had a guy in today that we've fitted with him with some large size corneal RGPs, rigid gas permeables, and he's had those for 5 or 6 years from me. And I said to him, look, I want to do some calculating, and I'm going to try and do a wave calculation, which is this free form calculation. And I'll give you two prices. I'll work out what it might cost going through both the old system and the new system, and I'll give you a price of each, and you can make a decision on which way you want to go. And one of the advantages of the wave system is it's going to fit a bit better. It's going to be more comfortable. It's going to be more healthy, and the vision is more stable and more clear.
So it's a bit like getting a tailor-made suit versus buying one off the rack. If you get a
Yes,
custom-made RGP, it's going to fit you like a glove. Then it'll fit your eye
that's
like a
right.
glove. Yeah.
The second thing to think about is if we're fitting these lenses and they're large enough, they
Mm,
mask distortions and they mask aberrations. So if we can do a lens that covers over a wobble in your cornea or a conical cornea like for keratoconus,
mm,
then you can't really fit advanced or severe keratoconus with soft contact lenses. Like I fit soft contact lenses on
mm.
keratoconic early cases, but not the more severe, more moderate cases. So having an RGP lens that we can do or a more customizable wave guided lens gives better vision and gets better results for those patients. But we still have to be careful. We still have to make sure that I can design all these lenses in the computer and they're great until I put them on an eye, and then the eye is different to the scans that we've done in some way, and we need to adjust things. So that's why there's always we have to fine tune the fit after they're delivered. I had a lady one that I did some wave lenses for just recently that we designed them, and she said much better vision than her old contact lenses. She was really happy with the comfort, but the vision was not to my satisfaction, so I had to adjust them. And those adjusted lenses have just come in today. So, that means that they should be even clearer again. And she's had those and she's been wearing them for 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. It's been a little bit of time. So, even a first fit can be better than the old lenses, and then it's still not to my satisfaction. So then there's a second fit which fine tunes it even further.
Well, I've never tried RGB hard contacts, but what I have heard some people say is that they maybe can be a little bit more challenging than soft contact lenses to get used to. So, what I have also heard of is that there's hybrid lenses, which kind of take the best of both worlds. Is that something that you use in your practice?
Yeah, I've fitted hybrid lenses. I don't fit a lot of them. I think I get more success with these large size
Mm,
cornea lenses than I do with the hybrids. But the hybrids work. They all have pros and they all have cons. Yeah.
mm,
Part of the cons with the hybrid lenses that we can get at the moment is they're all coming out of the US. Freight out of the US is nightmarish at the moment. So there's something
mm,
that I'm not going to be pushing heavily just because I don't know if I can get the lenses even, not consistently.
mm,
Um, and the patients that I fitted with them, I've had mixed. I've had some happy patients, but not long-term happy. I've had some patients that were not happy at all, and I've had other patients that were happy and long-term happy. So I've had a spectrum, if
mm,
that makes sense. With the RGP lenses, the rigid cornea lenses,
mm,
um, a lot of my patients that I'm seeing are existing wearers that are coming to me for a refit. So I'm trying to do better.
mm.
And then I've got patients that are unable to, or never had worn any RGP lenses, and they have lost vision due to keratoconus. They've got reduced vision, and they'll be a new fit and a brand new fit. And sometimes they're corneal lenses, and sometimes they're scleral lenses.
All right. Well, dry eyes and allergies are very common in Australia. So it's been a long time since I've worn contact lenses, and I think maybe one of the reservations I might have about taking up contact lenses again is because, I'm older and so my eyes are naturally drier.
Yep.
Are there any specific contact lenses that you do recommend for patients who are struggling with dry eye issues?
A few things that we think about because dry eye is a factor. Happy lids happy contact lenses is a mantra that I talk about. So I make sure I keep the ocular surface clean and healthy. That's one of the first things that we need to do. A clean and healthy ocular surface will lead to less deposits on your lenses and healthier and better vision and more comfortable vision with your contacts and less allergy as well. The second thing is there are new generation lenses that we didn't have when I started wearing contact lenses, probably when you were wearing contact lenses as well. I dropped out through to contact lens intolerance and reaction to the cleaning solutions back in the 90s. I've had a long time without contact lenses. It's only been the last 5 years or so that I've started wearing contact lenses again because the technology has caught up. So there are lenses that I think are very comfortable for me being a very contact lens intolerant patient,
Mm-hmm.
and that's myself. And I tell my patients that I said, look, I dropped out through bad habits and poor comfort and some eye reaction complications to my contact lenses back in the 90s. Um, is that what happened to you when you said you stopped wearing contact lenses? I said, oh yeah, I stopped wearing it because my eyes got irritated or this or that, or I developed this complication. I said, look, I've got into contact lenses now and I can wear them myself and I tolerate them really well. Would you be willing to try one of these new generation lenses that are more suitable for dry eye, that are more suitable for at reducing the irritation? And that's what's amazing. And that's one of the reasons that we like the Alcon Total One lenses so much and the Total 30, because that outside of their lens, it's just a layer which keeps it really hydrated, is also made of little extensions that stick out. And it's a bit of biomimicry from Alcons, which is clever. So they're trying to imitate and mimic what the cornea and the lid surface looks like. Because on the surface of your eye, it's covered in little microvilli, little extensions that stick up, and they flow in the breeze like corals drifting around. And your mucuses, your glycocalyxes that are in your tear film that glue to the eye, they have a similar reverse microvilli sort of a glycocalyx look, and they all lock together. So when your eye is smooth and slippery, it's not the eye that's smooth and slippery, it's the combination of the microscopic little extensions on your cornea and the mucuses that stick to them, and that creates the smoothness. So if you have a contact lens that has these little microvilli that stick up, then they mimic what the feel of the eye is against the eyelid, and that means that you can't feel this lens as much. It's more tolerable because it has
Yeah.
no friction. It has more comfort, and also that flexing that's going on, that reduction in friction. In the Total 30, they've got two different sorts of extensions, little plastic extensions that come out microscopically past the edge of the contact lens. Some of them are positively charged and some of them are negatively charged. So it has a sum neutral charge, which means it doesn't attract dirt, it doesn't attract makeup, it doesn't attract oil, and it doesn't attract any bacteria. It has a neutral charge, so it attracts nothing. So it doesn't get as dirty, it doesn't get deposits on, it doesn't get contaminated as quickly or as easily. Isn't that great? One of our problems and one of our reasons for not using repeat use lenses is hygiene, is infection rates and that sort of stuff. And we've suddenly got new generation lenses that have a repelling action that stopped adherence in the first place. So that, and then they're affordable. I've got patients that are wearing Dailies Total One that we've tried in Total 30 and have transferred out because it's cheaper and they feel great. I've got other people that say, look, the Dailies Total One is still more comfortable, so they've stayed in them, but they've appreciated trying to get a cheaper contact lens as well, a repeat use one. So this tech is amazing, and some of the other ones that I talked about before, some of the new ones from Johnson and Johnson and Bosch and Lomb are really good for dry eye as well. The Bosch and Lomb Ultra range and the J&J Max and Oasis ranges have all got components in them to help with dry eye.
So it's not necessarily that there are specific contact lenses for dry eye, so much as just the general technology has just improved so much that they're more comfortable for everyone. Is that what you're saying?
It is that they've tried to put some dry eye technology into the contact lenses, either
Mhm.
on the surface of it, like we're talking about, or actually imbue into the lens.
Mhm.
The Bosch and Lomb one is called Ultra 1 days and things. And in the US they're called Infuse because they're infused with dry eye lubricants. And that makes sense. It's a really clever name. I thought, oh, that's great. And in Australia, they've just marketed it as Ultra. So I'm not sure why they had to change the name from Australia and the US, but that's what we've got. But again, that infusion of lubricants and things into the contact lens means they slowly let them out through the day or through their wearing time. And Johnson got some of the similar sort of technology as well, which is great.
Mhm.
And that's trying to make everybody's eyes more comfortable, but it particularly helps people with dry eye.
Well, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're finding this discussion helpful so far, then please hit the like button. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm and increases the chances that other people who wear contact lenses will find this information useful as well. All right, so Martin, so for somebody who wants to get rid of glasses completely, that might be maybe more of a challenge if they're middle-aged or older because of presbyopia and so on. Are there contact lenses that can even help people become free of reading glasses? And here I'm thinking about things like multifocal lenses.
Yeah, I think all there's options in all of these things, but they all have not restrictions, but they all have limitations, if that makes sense. So I fit multifocal contact lenses for people, and I've got a patient today that I said he's having trouble putting them in and out. He's wearing multifocal contact lenses. He loves them. He says his vision's great with them. He thinks they're
Mm.
amazing, but can't get the things in his eye all the time because he's a bit ham-fisted. So multifocal contact lenses can work amazingly well, but they don't work for every single person. That's something to be aware of. But the fit success rate is pretty high. There's also a thing called monovision where we have one eye more for long distance and one eye fitted more for short distance. And that's actually what I wear. And the reason for that is I've got astigmatism and they don't make many contact lenses which have got a multifocal that also fixes astigmatism. So Cooper Vision have one. Um, but it's an older generation material. It's not quite as comfortable for me. I don't like it on my eye as much. But I've got a few patients wearing a toric multifocal from Cooper Vision, but it's the only one that's available in the market. In America, Alcon have got a total 30 astigmatism multifocal that's being launched, from what I can hear from the chatter from over in the US, and I
Mm.
assume that might come to Australia in due course as well. So I think that this space is not crowded with people wearing multifocals with toricity or astigmatism correction. There's only a few different options available, and that's where I guess the limitations come into it. And monovision doesn't work for everybody either. But what we can do is we can try option A, and if it doesn't work, we can try option B. And sometimes we might try the brand from Alcon, and if it doesn't work, we try the brand from Bosch and Lomb, and if it doesn't work, we try the brand from J&J. One of the three is going to be better than the other, and sometimes it's a matter of doing multiple trials to get to someone into a happy place.
And so would you say most people eventually find a contact lens option that works well for them? I mean, it sounds like age is no barrier because you
Age is
prescribe
not a barrier.
contact lenses from little kids to like 90-year-olds. So I'm assuming that that's not an issue. Are there any
No.
people who just find that contact lenses are not for them?
There are people that find contact lenses are not for them. I had a guy a while ago who had a panic attack when we put a contact lens in his eye, and
Mhm.
he fainted, like guys often do. And he decided, yeah, when he woke up from his faint, he decided, yeah, contact lenses are not for me. So, and that's a true story
Yeah.
that can happen. The vast majority of people, contact lenses will work for them, and it depends whether it's full time or part time. Does that make sense? I'm really happy with my monovision socially and for certain activities. I'm not as happy with them when I'm in a workplace where I'm trying to use microscopes and I'm trying to use both eyes and examine patients. So I don't wear them at work very often, but I do wear them socially out for meetings, and I wear them on holidays and the like. And until there's a more comfortable toric multifocal for me, that's my lot. I'm in the monovision world. That's the only option that really works for me. But I think there are contact lenses for everybody. And could I do a multifocal in an RGP lens? And the answer is we can. And I haven't tried that myself, but if I can get Jin, my new optometrist, to have a go at fitting me, then maybe that's something I could have a try at doing as a multifocal hard lens.
Okay, and there's ortho K lenses, which we're not even
Ortho
really
K
going
lenses
to
too.
we're
Yeah.
not going to talk about it in this video because
No.
it would take too long. But that's a whole really interesting topic in
Yep.
itself.
Absolutely.
Um, but speaking of specialty lenses, can we just talk about maybe some things that people are less familiar with, like bandage contact lenses for one? So what
Hmm.
are they? When do you need them? Where do you get them?
Yeah. So bandage contact lenses are a high breathing lens, normally a silicon hydrogel disposable contact lens that might last for 7 days or 30 days or something like that. Optometrists have them. Optometrists can give them out to people for certain problems. Like we had someone recently with a recurrent erosion syndrome, which is a little break in the cornea, in the
Mm.
epithelium. And that's happened through an injury that happened some time ago. And every now and again, there's a stressor in that person's life or on that eye or in that
Mm.
environment that the eye is working in. And there will be a re-break of that same injury. And it's almost like you get a scratch on your hand and you get it healing, but
Mm.
it's weaker. And if you bump that again, it'll re-scratch in the same spot. But it's a little bit more than that because the cornea just dehisces these cells and they fall off. And often it's after sleep. So
Mm.
people wake up and they've got pain because they've had a recurrent erosion. So for those people, you put a bandage contact lens in, and the trauma between the eyelid and the cornea is stopped while they're sleeping, and they're having rapid eye movements. There's no
Yeah.
friction from the eye moving underneath the closed eyelid. So it stops all of that. And so those sort of lenses are ones that we use for recurrent erosions or for a exposure, severe dry eye. Sometimes it's just to resettle the cornea for a week and see if we can remodulate it and smooth it out, and then go back to our dry eye treatments and things as well. So certainly I use bandage contact lenses for a range of areas, but it's exposure, dryness, or a recurrent erosion. So the three big ones.
So it's not to make your vision any better, but it's just to like
No.
give your eye a bit of healing protection then.
Yeah. And with the bandage ones, we normally use a very low power contact lenses. You can
Mm,
order some zero power ones, but they come at a cost, whereas
mm,
we can use some low power ones, which are a little
mm.
bit more affordable.
Could you get those prescribed by a GP, or you really have to go to an
No,
optometrist for those? Yeah.
an optometrist for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I will have GPs send me patients with recurrent erosion for bandage contact lens.
Yeah.
So yep. So certainly GPs can be part of the process, but they can't do the fitting unless they're
Right.
an optometrist themselves.
All right. Well, here's a fun one, and that's cosmetic contact lenses to maybe either change the color of your eye or give you some sort of like funny effect, like we were talking about the if you're into the goth scene a few years ago. I
Yep.
think a lot, maybe you were Martin. So like
No,
a
not
lot.
not not my scene. No, no. But no, I think we go through fits and start with cosmetic contact lenses. We get periods where I have a lot of people asking for it, and it's almost like a fad, and lots of
Mm,
people want it. And then there will be periods where we don't fit anything at all. And I haven't fitted any color changing sort of cosmetic contact lenses for a little while. But to give you an example of how it might be effective, I had a patient some years ago who was a nightclub owner, and he was acting as a security and a bouncer in that environment. And he used to get injured quite regularly because he'd be saying to someone, "Look, it's time for you to leave, mate. You're causing some trouble." And they'd take a swing at him, and they'd punch him, and he'd get a black eye or a bit of an injury. And so what we ended up fitting him with was a specialty contact lens just in one eye, and we got a range of them for him in all different weird patterns, everything from a vampire eye to a smiley face to a dollar sign to a joker or a clown or whatever, but only he would wear it only in one eye. And what had happened is he'd tell people, look, mate, I think you've had enough. I think it's time for you to go. And they'd look around at him. They'd look at him really closely because they were confused by what was happening on his one eye. And meanwhile, his other security guys would grab the guy from the shoulder and they'd pick him up and they'd carry him out of the nightclub. And so he didn't get any more black eyes. And while he wore this odd contact lens in one eye, he had no more black eyes. So that's a left to center use of a novelty contact lens.
right.
And for him, he was happy, and he was happy not getting black eyes. His wife was happy. Everything worked really, really well for him. Other people would just like a different look, and sometimes with cosplay, it's a big thing. And we go through periods where there might be a cosplay event in Hobart, and we would sell a lot more of that. We also get it around Halloween, where people are trying to be witches or what have you. I had a burlesque group a while ago that was doing a presentation or an act, and they all wanted the specialty contact lenses, so we fitted them with all the color changing contact lenses for that as well. So I think and some people would like to have a coloured contact lens as their day to day, but we see less and less of that, and many of those day to day contact lenses aren't as easily available now as what they used to be. But the specialty contact lens market has got huge. Like the companies that we can get those from, it's almost anything you can imagine.
All right. Another kind of contact lens, which I've heard about. I don't know if you had a lot of first-hand experience with this one, but it's for people who have so-called color blindness or color, like they
Mm.
have color vision deficiency. I've heard that there are some on the market that can actually help with that as well.
Yeah, no, there's some enchroma lenses and things that are not fix your color blindness, but give you a more normal color experience so that
Mm,
you can see reds as being disparate from greens and dirty reds from dirty greens in particular, because
mm,
that's what people with color deficits struggle with is these olive colors and these dusky red colors look identical.
mm.
They can't see the difference. If you put a red leaf and a green leaf side by side, they'd say they're identical. But if you put these in chroma lenses, either in glasses or in contact lenses and things, you can see the difference. But it's not quite the same as normal color vision, but it gives people a world that and differences that they haven't seen before. So you see a little bit of wow stuff on TikTok where they have everyone crying and dad can see blue jeans for the first time. Not quite as vivid as that. It's not quite as real as that. There's a little bit of acting, a little bit of AI, I suspect, in some of these videos that I've seen in my feed lately. And there are some contact lenses that are intelligent contact lenses as well. So there are ones that are linked to your smartphone that will give you a head-up display in the contact lens. So there's all sorts of interesting stuff going on. And smart contact lenses, I think it's probably going to be not that far away. I think smart contact lenses have got a bigger market or a bigger likely successful market than meta glasses and the like.
So when you say smart contact lenses, can you explain what you mean?
Well, these are contact lenses that have got power in them. They've got cameras in them. They've got light emitting technology, so they can put writing in front of your eye while you're wearing
Yeah.
the contact lens. So it's a bit
Mm.
like a head-up display in your car, except it's in your vision from the contact
Right.
lens. And some of them get power from your tear film. So there's a lot of different companies that are competing. They're
Yeah.
all experimental. None of them are to market,
Mm.
but I suspect that's where the future is,
Mm.
rather than meta glasses and all these smart glasses that are coming out because they're quite restrictive. Amazing, but quite restrictive. I think a contact lens is almost amazing. And if you've got, just say you in a VR headset, you could actually have your VR built into your contact lenses, which would be a whole different experience.
So exciting times ahead for optometrists, I think.
Maybe. And I think with all this AI discussion and people
Mm.
losing their jobs and things, I think optometrists will still be there to fix the eyes of these contact lenses that people have to wear to use the technology. So I hope we're still getting a job in a few years' time. So
All right. Well, maybe this is a really good point for me to ask you. So, for anyone out there who is unsure whether contact lenses would suit them, what would you recommend to them as a first step?
a first step is to make an appointment to see your optometrist. Whether that's myself or someone else, I don't think it matters as long as you go and see someone and say, look, I'm interested in contact lenses. Is there something for me for my prescription? And you go and have a test, and people give you those answers. Sometimes I'll have those patients that will be referred to me because the optometrist they go and see doesn't is not allowed to fit contact lenses. There's a couple of chains that
Mm.
just don't do anything with contact lenses, in which case, well, they'll send on to a practitioner that they know does do a lot of contact lenses. But that's still the first step, isn't it? You don't know as a practitioner who to go to, so you go to whoever you are seeing as your optometrist. Ask the question, be proactive about it, and most optometrists will fit you with some trial contact lenses. And once you've fitted with a trial and the optometrist is happy and you're happy, then you'll have contact lenses. So if you expect, if you're saying no to contact lenses because you don't think you can want to wear them full time, that's not a reason not to have contact lenses because you can
Mm.
have contact lenses for any particular
Mm.
hobby or activity that you have, even if it's really unusual and really niche, like a goth cosplay festival.
Mm.
Then there are contact lenses for that niche. And I
Yeah.
think that's the amazing thing about contact lenses is they've got options that are available for almost anyone on the planet these days.
Okay, so if you want cat's eye contact lenses, get in
Yep.
touch with Martin. He'll get you sorted. So, how can people book an appointment with you, Martin?
Booking an appointment with us is challenging at the moment because we're really, really busy. But the best place to do it is online. If you go to our website or go to HotDocs website or app on your phone, you can find Martin's Eye Care and you can book appointments direct through HotDocs. They can see where our vacancies are and you can book an appointment. And that's available for most of my types of consults. Not all of my consultations you can book on HotDocs. But if you ring us up and you're asking for anything in particular, anything special, then the guys on my front desk will talk to you, take some notes, and they may want to converse with me and then come back to you and we'll try and organise to see you. I've had quite a few people where I'm doing these interesting different contact lenses at the moment that I'm having trouble fitting them back into my clinic. So what I've said to them is, look, why don't we see you at 8:30 in the morning or why don't we see you at close, like at this time of day, at 5 o'clock, and I'm fitting them at that time of day. And doing that teach session or something there, and that makes my working day longer, which is challenging, but it's at least getting them in to see me at a reasonable length of time.
And that website address again was what
It's
was it?
www.martinseyecare.com.au.
And
And we've also
don't
got our Facebook page and we've got our YouTube page, which is theoretically where you're finding this video. So, yeah,
And if you've enjoyed the video, once again, please give us a like because it really helps us out and get the information out there. All right, well,
absolutely. Thank you.
we might wrap up, Martin. So thanks a lot, and thanks very much again.
No worries. Thank you very much, Paul. See ya.
Okay, bye everyone. Bye bye.